I'm an international student studying abroad, and in my spare time, I moonlight as a food blogger. But the truth is, I can never finish all the dishes I make. So, out of habit, I'd share a bit with my aloof roommate each time. Today was no different. I brought over a slice of cake I'd just finished baking and knocked on his door like usual. Suddenly, a barrage of on-screen comments popped up out of nowhere. Poor young master. Forced to study abroad by his parents to build character, but he's too socially anxious to leave the house. Doesn't know how to cook either, so he just posts online every day like, I need food, nearly starved himself alone at home. Lucky for him, his roommate's a kitchen wizard. Saved his life, literally. LOL, remember when he used to cry and beg to go home? Now he waits by the door at mealtime like clockwork. His parents flew over to bring him back, and he refused to go. Ripped his passport yesterday, I heard. Cake today, huh? He's gonna melt with happiness again. I blinked at the screen in confusion. What? Welcome to Hihistory channel. Subscribe to follow all our latest adventures. Story begins. It was midnight. I had just uploaded a video of my honey-glazed pork ribs over rice. Within seconds, comments flooded in. Post this stuff at midnight again and I'll find someone to shut you down. Not in the morning, not at lunch, but as soon as it's midnight, out comes the damn spoon and you start mixing. Mental Health Committee, help. I'm drooling so hard I can't breathe. Can you deliver across a small lake? IP. Australia. Watching them all suffer in collective hunger while I munched away made me grin with satisfaction. I put my phone down, only to turn and face a massive bowl of untouched pork ribs over rice. I'd made way too much for the sake of aesthetics. And I've got a tiny appetite. Worse, our old fridge kept losing power. I didn't even dare put food in it anymore. So what now? Just throw it away? That felt like a crime. Still torn, I suddenly heard a loud doo-ong from the bedroom next door. Sounded like someone fell off the bed. Oh right. I had a roommate. A weird one. He'd lived here for half a year and had never said a single word to me. Always locked away in his room. The few times I caught a glimpse of him, it was him hunched in front of the fridge, ass in the air, rummaging like a raccoon. But the second he heard footsteps, bam. Like a startled ostrich, he'd bolt into his room and slam the door shut. As if I were a serial killer and if he didn't run fast enough, I'd eat him. It was equal parts annoying and hilarious. Tall, slim build. Definitely a guy. It's not like he was scared of me physically. The only explanation? He hated me. Didn't want to deal with me. But I couldn't for the life of me figure out what I'd done to piss him off. We still had 3 more years of living together, so I figured. Might as well try and thaw the ice a little. I could share some food. Maybe start from there. I just wasn't sure if he'd even accept it. Still, I scooped a portion into a bowl and made my way to his door. Gently knocked. The shuffling inside immediately stopped. Silence. Like he was waiting. I cleared my throat. Hi, sorry to bother you. I made too much food. If you don't mind, would you help me eat some? 1 minute passed. Nothing. Not a sound. Disappointed, I was just about to turn away with a sorry to bother, when the door creaked open, just a sliver. No face. Just a hand. Long fingers, pale knuckles, lit faintly by the hallway light. He still didn't say a word. Like he was gracing me with his acceptance. The nerve. I was this close to yelling, I'd rather feed this to a stray dog than give it to you, you arrogant jerk. But then I figured that would only make things worse. Or maybe he'd actually storm out and punch me into the drywall. He looked strong. 1 slap and I'd be a mural. So I swallowed my pride, slapped the bowl into his palm, and turned around in a huff. Didn't even notice his hand hesitating, nor the softest whisper that came from behind the door. Thank you. So soft it seemed to cost him all his courage. Truth be told, I wasn't exactly a fan of this uptight, awkward guy. But at least now I had a solution for leftover food. From then on, I stopped handing things over directly. I'd knock, set the bowl on the floor and just say, eat. Felt like feeding a cold, haughty puppy. One time, I was in a bad mood, and just looking at him annoyed me. So I squirted extra wasabi into the burger I left for him. Then I sat in the living room, arms crossed, waiting for him to come out screaming. He never did. I started to wonder if he ate it at all, or just dumped it. Then I heard chaos behind the door, panicked rummaging, drawers slamming, and finally, the frantic sound of someone chugging water. But still, no confrontation. So the guy could endure pain. And apparently, he had a good temper too. After another grueling group project left me dead on my feet, I dragged myself home, switched on the light, and spotted a small, neatly wrapped box on the table. A note beside it, written in lovely cursive ink. Thank you for the food. He even used a fountain pen. It moved me. It felt like that haughty little dog finally let me pat his head. All those days of patience and tolerance had finally paid off. I picked up the box. Honestly, I would have been happy if it just had a folded paper crane inside. But when I opened it, it was a sleek, elegant wristwatch. A men's model. A little big on my wrist. And unless I was hallucinating, that looked like a Rolex. No way. It had to be fake. My dad had one too. I got it for him to show off at poker games. He'd roll up his sleeves on purpose and say it was accidentally broken. Still, fake or not, even if it was bought from some sketchy site, it was the thought that counted. And hey, I needed a watch anyway. To thank him for the gift, I baked a cake that night and headed to his room. Only to be met with another wave of floating comments. Poor rich boy, forced to study abroad by his parents. So socially anxious he can't even go out to eat. Can't cook either, just keeps posting I need food online every day. Almost starved to death alone. Thank God for his foodie roommate. Literally saved his life. LOL, this guy used to cry and beg to go home. Now he waits by the door at mealtime. His parents even flew in to bring him back, and he refused. Ripped up his passport yesterday. Cake today, huh? He's about to be spoiled rotten again. What the hell? Me? A young master? You've got to be kidding. If he's a young master, then my little brother must be crown prince. What kind of so-called heir ends up sharing a dusty attic apartment with a broke student like me? The faucet here throws tantrums. It's dry in the morning, spits a few drops at noon if it's in the mood, and flows at night like a punishment. The water's so hard it makes my hair fall out faster than exam results. Power outages every other day. Food I managed to store in the fridge during the summer? Gone rotten overnight. And don't even get me started on the neighbors. They host raves until 5 in the morning. This isn't studying abroad. This is surviving tribulation. What kind of pampered heir could survive this? If someone so much as dropped a pin next door and disturbed his sleep, wouldn't he have bodyguards level the place in minutes? As if reading my skepticism, the scrolling comments added. Yeah, it is hard to believe, but he really is one. Just a bit unlucky and pitiful. Landed, got into a shady cab that dumped him here. Social anxiety meant he couldn't say a word in protest. Just quietly signed the lease, paid up, and locked himself in. Cried for 3 days straight. You wouldn't believe it. This guy has had separation anxiety since he was a kid. Wouldn't let his parents out of sight. Called them like 50 times if they left the house for 5 minutes. Eventually, his parents got him a little buddy to hang with. He immediately glued himself to the poor kid 24/7. Terrified the kid would leave, he morphed into the ultimate people pleaser. Gave away everything he owned. The kid bought him a milk tea once. He held his hand and said with trembling eyes, "This is the best tea I've ever had. I don't even want to go to the bathroom." Scared the life out of the kid, who thought he was gay and bolted in the night with one hand on his butt. His parents had no choice. Shipped him overseas for character building. Figured Westerners were outgoing and chill. Maybe he'd learn. But nope. Didn't leave the house. Just curled up with his speaker, crying to "It's been a long day. Without you, my friend." At first, he still ordered delivery when he was hungry. Then his parents found out he wasn't leaving the apartment. They froze his cards. Tried to force him outside by paying him $10K per hour spent outdoors. Didn't work. He just dug in, surviving a whole month on expired bread, sour yogurt, and some weird tomato-flavored beans. When the hunger got bad, he'd watch food videos online, letting the tears mix with the saliva at the corner of his mouth. Then the food blogger moved in. He gained a new hunting ground. Started digging through your trash for leftovers. That's when it hit me. No wonder my kitchen trash had been suspiciously clean for a while. I'd actually thought he was helping take out the trash. Turns out, he ate it. The comments continued. Things were grim before. But now, things are looking up. Getting matched with a kind-hearted food blogger was divine intervention. Patrick Milford finally hit the jackpot. The first time he tasted that honey-glazed pork rib rice bowl, his eyes lit up, and he dropped to his knees to worship the food with 3 ceremonial bows. So he actually liked my cooking. And here I thought he was just reluctantly accepting it out of politeness. God. I'd added wasabi to his burger once, tossed in an extra half spoon of salt in his borscht, and used imitation chocolate and margarine in that cake I gave him. I am the worst. I tiptoed toward the door, intending to take the cake back and remake it properly. But the comments stopped me. Blogger, we know you mean well, but don't let him cling to you. Just feed him once in a while and leave it at that. Otherwise, your life will never be peaceful again. I didn't think much of it. He liked my food, not me. There's no such thing as clinging here. Once he's had his fill, I'm sure he'll patch things up with his parents, renew his passport, and fly back home to a life of luxury. Besides, I didn't have many friends here. Sometimes, I'd get the urge to cook, but my appetite's tiny. Now I finally had a legitimate reason to go wild in the kitchen. He'd eat the leftovers. Everybody wins. As I passed through the living room, I spotted the Rolex he'd gifted me. Could it actually be real? I picked it up with trembling fingers, examining the intricate detailing and the shine of the diamonds. This thing had to be worth tens of thousands. Don't bother, the comments warned. Not only is it real, he took it off his own wrist. Kid's timid, but serious about paying debts of gratitude. I suddenly felt a pang of guilt. Gratitude? I didn't deserve that. All I did was feed him like a stray dog. There's no way I could keep something this expensive. Even if my entire family worked from the 20th century till now, we still might not afford it. What if his parents showed up and saw it on me? They'd think I stole it. Patrick might not know better, but I do. So I packed it up and gently left it by his door. I even wrote a note. Received your kind gesture, but no need for gifts. If you really want to thank me, follow my YouTube channel, Cooking with Alice. Like and comment. I live stream sometimes too. If you ever feel bored or lonely, you can watch me cook on your phone. Oh, and don't forget to activate the fan badge and send free little hearts. That night, I went to the supermarket and bought a ton of fresh ingredients. All discounted, of course. But quality ones. I was going to remake the cake properly. Maybe even throw in some cola chicken wings. But when I stepped into the kitchen, I noticed the cake in the trash bin was gone. A terrible suspicion crept over me. Could he have taken that cake? The one made with imitation cocoa and margarine? Even though it was clean and double-bagged, those ingredients were bad for your health. I was literally about to replace it with a proper one. God, this kid's really got no food boundaries. But then again, maybe it's my fault. I got home late. He was probably starving. If that cake gives him food poisoning, I'll never forgive myself. Panicked, I ran to his door and knocked. Hello? Hello? Are you there? Did you eat the cake I threw out? I choked on the words and slammed the brakes. Wait. He's a rich young heir after all. He must care about appearances. If I said that, I'd be exposing his trash diving habits. He'd die of embarrassment. I needed another angle. Ahem. So, it's my backyard brick's birthday today. I'm making a whole spread to celebrate. Honey glazed ribs, cola chicken wings, curry fish, tomato beef stew. Would you like some? The way you're listing those dishes is making me hungry, the comments said. Patrick Milford was halfway through devouring that cake, but the second he heard those dishes, it turned to ash in his mouth. Are you kidding? He'd sell his soul for a taste. I exhaled in relief. A muffled came from behind the door. He's grinning like a fool in there, trying so hard not to squeal or drool on the floor. Just So cold. No wonder the blogger squirted wasabi into your burger. I'd have used cement. No matter. Good food is worth the wait. No way he'd touch the cake again. Because any true foodie knows. You gotta save room for the real deal. I finally let out a breath of relief and headed back to the kitchen to start cooking, casually launching a live stream as I went. It wasn't a lot, just enough for 2 people. And these were all dishes I knew like the back of my hand, so they came together fast. In less than 2 hours, the table was full, steaming and glistening with thick, rich sauces. The comments went absolutely feral. You devil. Do you even realize what time it is here? I'm calling the police. Blogger, make me the exact same meal. Deliver it to my hand. You know what I'm capable of. Forget it. You win. You've crushed my mental defenses. I'm a stray mutt soaked by the rain, collapsed in front of your doorstep. You've broken me, brother. I'm done. Don't mind me. I'm gonna go jump. Some try to lie to themselves. It probably smells bad, tastes worse, must be bitter or gone off. Ugh, who would want it, sob sob. How the hell did he luck out like this? Goes abroad and meets a roommate who's basically a kitchen deity? I got stale bread and diabetes-inducing jam every day. Once I finished cooking, I grabbed a new bowl and packed the dishes carefully. Still steaming hot, I carried it to his door. Eat up, you mute little rice hound. Just like always, I knocked. No response. But I knew he was right behind that door, waiting for me to leave. I thought about messing with him. Maybe stand there in silence, pretend I'd gone and wait for him to open the door for a jump scare. But what if I scared him too badly? What if he held a grudge? With his family's connections, wiping a nobody like me off the map would be child's play. So I backed off. Cleaned up the kitchen, ready to say goodbye to the fans and log off. Then maybe clip the video later. But one glance at my stream dashboard nearly knocked me off my feet. I'd earned $20,000 during this live stream. From one single viewer. Their profile picture was a kitten. Username: Stray Cat of Earth. Well damn. I guess that makes me the Martian stray dog. Comments: damn. How much did Patrick Milford just drop? Wasn't that the money his parents sent him to buy winter coats? It's about to snow, my guy. Your blanket's as thin as rice paper. How are you gonna survive? The window in your room still leaks, remember? Did you just decide you're skipping this month's heating bill? Still, wow. I'm begging to meet someone this soft-hearted and generous this winter. But I wasn't thrilled. Not one bit. That reckless little brat. Would have been better if he just wired the money to me directly. Live stream platforms take half in fees. I felt like crying. Scared he might throw even more money at me next time, I blocked him. Then a familiar crash. The sound of someone falling out of bed. Comments: haha, blogger blocked him and now Patrick Milford's so panicked he doesn't even have dinner videos to soothe him. He's probably scratching his head wondering what he did wrong. Honestly, in that scrambled little head of his, he's probably thinking he didn't spend enough. I gave in. Heart of marshmallow, that's me. I unblocked him, then messaged: thanks, but please don't send gifts again. I'll refund the money. Use it for blankets and heat instead, okay? He didn't reply, just quietly accepted the refund. I thought it was over. Then my followers started exploding. Notifications blew up. Comments. Private messages. Everything. Turns out, he hadn't given up on spending the money. He'd bought ads for every single one of my videos. Comments. This guy's really something. He had to spend the money, huh? Sponsored every video like his life depended on it. I was exasperated. You reckless maniac. What if you actually freeze to death? In the end, I bought him a stack of thick blankets out of my own pocket and left them by his door. Later, while watching TV on the living room sofa, I saw his door quietly creak open. A hand reached out. Furtive, nervous. It groped a bit, brushed over the wall, the floor, then finally found the edge of the blanket. With effort it pulled the whole thing inside. Why was that kind of cute? I let out a small laugh. Maybe the room was too quiet. The laugh echoed. The hand paused, then yanked back like it was ashamed, and the door clicked shut. Comments. Wait, did you notice? He shut the door gently this time. Right? Before it was a full-on slam. Now it's soft, like he's scared of disturbing the blogger. It's like a stray dog that's finally been tamed, wagging his tail trying to please. Finals came quickly. I didn't have time for live streams anymore. My days were full of cramming, writing papers from morning till night. At best, I uploaded quick videos to keep the channel breathing. Then one professor dropped a bomb. Surprise test tomorrow, 80% of the final grade. The subject was notoriously difficult. No way I could prep in time. Panicked, I grabbed my laptop and sprinted to the library. I studied until the world blurred. Even the moment the test ended, I felt like I'd left my body. Exhausted, I laid my head on the desk, when a string of comments suddenly appeared in my vision. You did it, blogger. We didn't dare disturb you. We were afraid we'd mess up your studying. I bolted upright. You little. Where were you all when I was pulling my hair out mid-exam? Don't come acting all sweet now. Sensing my rage, the comments quickly explained. Exam-related stuff is blocked from showing up. We couldn't get through. Oh. All right. I slumped back down. Just as I was closing my eyes again. Wait, don't sleep yet. Remember your roommate? The young master. My eyes flew open. Oh no. I'd been so wrapped up in finals prep, I completely forgot about him. He's been miserable. Ended up eating expired herring and spent a whole night glued to the toilet. And after that? He waited by the door for you. Like a sad little puppy. Thought you didn't want him anymore. He cried for days, thinking you were done with the hassle of cooking for him. Eventually figured out your clothes were still here, so you hadn't moved out. But then he panicked again. Thought something happened to you. Now he's out on the streets looking for you. You have no idea how much courage it took for someone with social anxiety to step outside. He covered himself completely with a blanket. Couldn't even see properly. Took him almost 2 hours to walk 5 meters. Some teenagers saw him looking weak and gave him a good kick. He fell flat and didn't make a sound. God, how can someone be this pitiful? Please go find him. We can't take it anymore. I grabbed my backpack and ran like hell. I finally found him in the park, just 300 meters from home. There he was, huddled on a bench under a wool blanket, crying his heart out. His shoulders trembled with every sob. His head was buried completely, like he wanted to disappear. For a second, I seriously thought he might pass out from crying too hard. I rushed over and gently patted his shoulder. Hello. I'm your roommate. Remember me? Truthfully, I wasn't sure if he'd even recognize me. We'd never actually seen each other's face. Ever. All he knew was that I was the roommate. Would he really trust someone based on that? But the moment I spoke, he froze. Then slowly, he tilted his head toward me. His blanket was wrapped tightly, leaving only one eye peeking out. Even with just that, he was beautiful. Long lashes, wet with tears, fluttered softly. I forgot to breathe for a second. And the moment he confirmed it was me, Patrick Milford lunged forward and wrapped himself around my leg like a koala. I stood there stunned. I mean, how do you even see where you're going with one eye out? But still, I knew what this meant. For someone with crippling social anxiety, someone who barely stepped outside once a year, to actually come out looking for his missing roommate? It was a miracle. I crouched down and gently comforted him. Sorry, I've been caught up with finals. Totally forgot about you. Let me make it up to you today, yeah? I'll cook you a feast. At that, his eyes sparkled. He nodded immediately, eyes glimmering with hope. I walked ahead, and he followed behind. Slowly. Whenever I walked too fast and the gap widened, he'd panic and jog a little to catch up. But because he still had his head down, neck tucked in, and only one eye visible. Bam! He smacked straight into a streetlight. I rushed back and crouched in front of him. Oh my God, are you okay? That's my bad, I walked too fast. He didn't even flinch. Let me ruffle through his hair, checking for swelling like a worried mom. Once I confirmed he was fine, he stood back up, quiet but determined. Still I hesitated. Then reached out. Do you wanna maybe hold on to my sleeve? I expected him to shy away. But he grabbed it instantly. I paused, then smiled. Back home we go. As we walked, I looked down at my sleeve being held so tightly and felt something strange. It was like walking a really big dog. A dog that trusted me. Only me. Back at home, I didn't even make it to the kitchen. I sat on the couch for 1 second, and passed out cold. When I opened my eyes, it was already the next morning. There was an extra blanket on me. Didn't even have to guess who did it. Damn it. I let him go hungry again. I got up, groggy and guilty, and headed to the kitchen, only to freeze. The table was packed with food. All sorts of dishes. He'd even gotten my favorite grilled cold noodles. Wait a minute. Didn't he blow all his money on AdSense for my videos? Where did he get the money? Right on cue, the comments rolled in. Haha, Patrick told his parents he got a girlfriend. They got so excited they wired him $1 million, told him not to treat her poorly. If she wants a designer bag, buy it. No hesitation. After they hung up, his parents just sat there sobbing. Our poor socially anxious son. He finally found someone who loves him for real. It must be fate. Whatever it takes, we'll support it. Girlfriend? Who? Me? No way. He probably just said that to scam money off his parents. Who taught him to be this shady? Fuming, I stomped toward his door, ready to knock some sense into him. Before I even touched the door, it creaked open. Just a crack. Like usual. Then, after a few seconds of hesitation, it opened. All the way. There stood a tall, slender man with absurdly good looks. Wearing a white striped puffer jacket that still couldn't hide his broad shoulders and trim waist. His lashes were lowered, gaze flickering away, like he didn't dare meet my eyes. He looked nervous. Lacking confidence. Which was ridiculous. How could someone that good-looking possibly be self-conscious? I raised a hand awkwardly and waved. Hey! Inside, I was grinning like an idiot. This meant he trusted me. After all this time, he was finally willing to show himself. That level of trust, from someone like him? Priceless. It only took a year of being roommates for you two to finally see each other's faces. But seriously, what is he wearing? Looks like a Michelin man. Patrick blinked, then finally said, This is for you. He shoved a card into my hands. I looked down, confused. It was a bank card. The kind that works both locally and internationally. The comments went wild. OMG, I ran a scan. Guess how much is in that account? $998. 678.40. He didn't round up to $1 million, didn't round down to 900. It's exactly the leftover after food delivery. He gave her everything. I frowned. What did this mean? Was he feeling guilty for using me to get money from his parents, so he gave it all to me? Patrick saw my silence and turned bright red. He stammered. To hold on to. For safekeeping. He was afraid he'd blow through it again and wanted me to help him keep it safe. My chest tightened. That's a massive amount of trust from someone like him. I almost teared up on the spot. But the comments were already shipping us off to Vegas. He just handed her $1 million. If that's not a proposal, I don't know what is. This has to be love. It's over, blogger. He's totally in love with you. Get ready to be stuck with him for life. Turns out that the way to a man's heart is through his stomach is 100% true. I'm off to learn how to cook. I rolled my eyes. Girlfriend? Love. Please. None of you understand how rare this kind of pure friendship is. Do you know how hard it is to become friends with someone who's an extreme introvert and anxious to the bone? Don't ruin something this wholesome. Let's not taint this with your love goggles. Let's believe in the power of friendship. Ever since that day, Patrick Milford stopped hiding in his room. He started stepping out more, taking short walks, getting some sun. The only problem? He stuck to me like a shadow. Wherever I went, he followed. It wasn't until I announced I was heading to the library that he finally halted at the front door, staring at me like I'd just declared I was moving out. I turned back and smiled. See you tonight, okay? He paused. I want to come too. I raised a brow. Really? The library's pretty crowded. He nodded with absolute certainty. I still want to go. All right. I held out my hand. Then hold on to my sleeve on the way. He can't stand a moment apart from her. Soon as he heard she'd be gone till evening, he panicked. 7, 8 hours without seeing her? Might as well be the apocalypse. The moment she said, library, his social anxiety conveniently vanished. Guy can't hold eye contact with strangers but will sprint to follow her like a GPS-tracked golden retriever. At the library, I buried myself in my thesis. Patrick curled up beside me, flipping quietly through a book. When I got up, he immediately stood up too. I blinked. Bathroom. He didn't flinch. I need to go too. Great. I'd picked up a bathroom buddy. On sunny days, we'd take the bedding downstairs to air them out. Afterward, Patrick always looked like he'd just survived a war and was ready to go home. I waved. You go ahead. I'm gonna take a walk in the park. He turned around immediately. Then I'm going too. I gave up. Maybe he just felt lonely at home. Friends should keep each other company, right? Who would have guessed that a month ago this guy was too anxious to speak? Now he's tailing her around town like a pro-level simp. He used to flinch if someone glanced his way. Now, she asks him to guard her bike outside the grocery store, and if someone so much as walks past it, he stares them down like they just insulted his ancestors. Passers-by. Is this dude okay? Finals ended. Glorious winter break began. I was still dead asleep when someone knocked at the door. Half asleep, I stumbled over, thinking it was a delivery. The second I cracked the door open, a tall figure lunged at me and wrapped me in a hug. Sis, I'm here to hang out with you. I froze. It took a moment to register. My younger brother. College freshman. Hadn't seen him in 5 years. Damn, he'd gotten tall. But honestly, I wasn't thrilled. Our parents always favored him growing up. He got the best of everything. I never complained, just quietly started my own food blog, saved up, and went abroad for school. I swore I'd never become a support your brother doormat. And yet here he was. I frowned and pulled his arms off me. How did you even find this place? He didn't mind. Just grinned and strolled right in, looking around the place like it was Disneyland. Wow! This is what an overseas rental looks like? So much character. Is that the bean snack? I've seen people eat it in study abroad vlogs. Looks delicious. I've always wanted to try it. Whoa! Is the tap water? Coke. That's next level. Ooh. Someone's throwing a party next door. What a vibe. I had nothing. Even if I wanted to roast him, I wouldn't have come up with those lines. But this was just who he was. Not the brightest bulb. I grabbed his sleeve. All right, tour's over. Time to go. Just as he passed the bathroom, Patrick came out, freshly showered. He froze mid-step. My brother looked amazed. Wow, is that a foreigner? Patrick and I locked eyes. I opened my mouth to explain, but he quickly looked away and retreated into his room. Duong. Door shut. Right. Forgot he still couldn't handle strangers. Meanwhile, my brother had made himself at home. I'm gonna stay here for a few days. I frowned. No. Get out. He clung to the couch. Wait. Listen. I snuck out. My return flight's in 5 days. I have no money on me. If you kick me out, I'm literally homeless. I stayed firm. So he did what any emotionally manipulative little brother would do. Rolled on the floor screaming. Wah! I'm the world's most pitiful child. Wah! I sighed and kicked him. Cut the act. He stopped mid-roll, sat up with a grin. I told my roommate my sister's a food blogger who cooks like a goddess. Can I taste something? I'll even help. At dinner, I figured Patrick would stay holed up in his room. I plated a separate dish to bring him later. But as soon as I stepped out of the kitchen, he was already seated at the table. Expressionless. Silent. My brother was chatting away. So you're my sister's roommate? You're pretty good looking. Not as handsome as me though. My sister's cooking is amazing. She used to cook for me all the time. Oh, the taunting is non-stop. Patrick thought this was her younger ex, calling her sis, all cutesy and possessive. He's panicking, sitting there like a territorial cat, but losing this battle in 3 sentences flat. Misunderstanding. I started to explain, but my brother looped his arm around mine. Sis, sit next to me. Here, I made you a plate. Creak. Patrick stood up, left the table, and went straight back to his room. He's gonna cry if he stays 1 more second. Watching them all close like that, he's green with jealousy but trying to keep his dignity. Oh no. He's crying? I told my brother to eat without me and walked over to Patrick's door. It wasn't even closed. I stepped in, hesitating, only to find a lump curled up under the blanket on the bed. I lifted the blanket and peeked in. You're really crying? His back was to me. Silent. I was about to explain. But suddenly he sat up and threw his arms around me. I'm helping with the family business now. Learning how to talk to people. I'm not just some useless, anxious loser anymore. His voice cracked. So please, don't get back with him. Stay with me. I really like you. Woo-woo. His words got softer and smaller, trailing into sniffles. My heart skipped a beat. Without even thinking, I wrapped my arms around him. Okay. What was there to think about? He was tall, handsome, generous. I'd never find another guy like this. And after all the food I fed him? No way I'd let anyone else have him. My brother left the next morning without a sound. He left behind a bank card with $30,000. And a note. Sis, your food really is the best. Hope I can come eat again sometime. I know life hasn't been easy for you.